Alright guys, it's Jeremy here with Jackson Home Repairs. Working on a bedroom in my house today. Wanted to give a quick video here. I don't know if it'll be quick, but kind of give you guys some tips and tricks on painting a room from somebody that's painted a lot of walls. I think I would start by saying don't be in a hurry. When you rush things don't turn out real well. So the key to good paint is the prep of the walls or the surface of whatever you're going to be painting. The painting is about 5%, where the prep of the wall or the surface is about 95% of the job. That's why you see these spots on the walls. Went around, and first thing I do is I wipe all the trim down. I'm not going to paint the trim in this room. I'm just painting the walls. So I always protect my trim. That way I don't get paint on it. The last person that painted here decided to freehand it. Splatters everywhere. I can find splatters all over the house, all over the trim, all over the floor, all over everything. And the first thing we do is wipe the trim down with a damp rag. Gets all the dust and hair and anything on the trim off. That way that tape will stick. I put the 1.5 inch frog tape on the trim. That way it protects it. It gets me a nice straight line. And yeah, sometimes the paint will bleed behind it, but I'll go back and fix that when I'm done. The second thing I'll say is after you prep, after I tape the walls and wipe the trim down, I go around and patch any holes or any dents and divots with drywall compound. I like to use like a 45-minute sheetrock mud. Comes in a bag. You just mix it up with water and apply it on the wall. I put 2 coats of it on there because it will shrink. Put a coat on it, let it dry, come back, scrape it down a little bit, and put a second coat on it. After I do that, I prime it. This is what you're seeing there. The reason I prime it is if you don't prime it, you're going to see flashing on those spots. That mud, that compound will actually flash through the paint. It will make it'll just look bad when you paint over it. So if you put a coat of primer, which is just the paint I'm using, doesn't really need to be a primer per se, but I will paint a coat of paint over that flash or that spot that I mudded. And then I'll come back and I always paint 2 coats over the entire wall. So those spots will get 3 coats of paint, which completely seals that compound up. That way it won't flash. Flashing, you'll notice you can see that blue wall there has a lot of natural light. If I didn't prime that and only put 2 coats of paint over it, those spots would flash very bad and it'd look terrible. You get done and you look at it and you say, what the heck happened? So always prime your spots. After you're done priming your spots, you go around and you take your brush. I use top of the line brushes. Everything I use is nice stuff. The better the tools, typically the better the results. Not always, but these Corona brushes, this Tynex nylon, are super soft. Wash them out every time I use them, so they last years. I use my handy pail with a liner just so it's easier to clean up and throw away. I don't have to clean up my bucket, worry about it drying up and creating stuff inside. So use that. I take that 2.5 inch brush and I cut in that wall. So I do the edges first. It's called cutting in. You'll cut that entire wall in, and once you get that wall cut in, you start back where you started cutting in and you'll roll the wall. Don't do more than 1 wall. The reason for that is if that cut in dries completely before you roll it in, there's going to be flashing on that edge called edging or banding, whatever you want to call it. It just the sheen won't match great, so we try to get back to that as soon as possible. So I always roll right after I cut in. So I'm going to start here on this next wall. I'll cut this entire wall in. Once I get that entire wall cut in, I will come back and immediately roll it. So that'll all have a coat of paint on it here in about 20 minutes. The time it takes to prep the room is way longer than the time it takes me to paint the room. I always put drop cloths down, protect your floors. You don't ever just do it. If you just do it, you're gonna get paint somewhere. You're better off spending the time and the effort to put something down to cover your flooring. So that's a few things that'll make the difference in a professional job versus a DIY job. Yeah, you most people that paint rooms for themselves are excited and happy and feel satisfied when they get done painting the wall, the rooms, but a lot of times the results don't turn out like they should. That's another reason I say hire a professional. I know it seems crazy, and I would probably charge $400 $500 to paint this room, but I also use the best paint that Sherwin Williams offers. It's a $73 a gallon retail, and I think I get it for 60, somewhere around there. But I use a matte finish for the most part. Gives it a little bit of sheen, and it is wipeable, washable. It's not completely flat. It doesn't have a lot of sheen, and I can go into sheens later. But that's the gist of painting walls. If you have any questions, let me know. Have any comments, let me know. I'm going to post this on my page and a YouTube page. So we'll keep videos rolling. Until next time, this is Jeremy with Jackson Home Repairs.